We still want kids to choose healthy behaviors, the kind of behaviors that are going to make kids thrive far into the future. Let's look at behavioral change. It's pretty well studied. What we know is that there are 5-ish steps to behavioral change. The first thing that we need to do is we need to make it so the kids are aware of a problem. That's why we teach them. But if you just make kids aware, that's not going to get them really too far because they have to be personally motivated. If you're aware that something's happening to other people, you're still not going to take any action because you don't know that it affects you. So we have to have kids understand that this problem can affect them. But then we have to take it another step, because what we normally do with education is we say, this is what will happen to you and this is what you better do. But we don't give them the skills of what to do, right? So if I tell you that in order to be safe, you need to use protection, but you don't know how to deal with a partner who looks at you and who says, what, you don't trust me? Is that why you want me to use this? If you don't know how to deal with that, you're not going to be able to listen to what I'm suggesting. So when we make people aware and we make people motivated, but we don't give them skills, we actually do more harm than good. Why? Because we produce kids who are frustrated, motivated but frustrated. Frustration leads to stress. Stress drives all negative behavior. You've done more harm than good. So we give them skills. And then what happens? Kids are going to go through a process of weighing the costs and benefits. What's good about what I'm doing? What's bad about what I'm doing? What's better about this new behavior? What's worse about this new behavior? You know, I'm 16 years old and I'm thinking of quitting smoking cigarettes and I'm saving $8 a day and my teeth aren't yellow and when she kisses me, she doesn't go, ooh, and that's all good. But gosh, I'm nervous. That kid's not ready to quit. Why? Because until we teach him how to calm his nerves, it's never going to feel better to quit. Finally, the final thing is, am I going to maintain the new behavior or am I going to give up on the new behavior? Am I going to relapse? That's about how people reinforce or undermine my behavior. I choose not to have sex. What's going to happen when I turn on the TV and I see someone like me who's choosing not to have sex? Do they look like one of the popular kids? What's going to happen when I talk to my friends about my choice? Are they going to say to you, Ken, you have a really strong spiritual center? Or are they going to go, what's wrong with you? It's all about how people are responded to once they've chosen their behavior. So again, all behavioral change theories in a blender. Here's what they say. Are you aware? Are you motivated? Do you have the skills? Are you prepared to move forward even when you weigh the costs and benefits? And once you're there, are people going to undermine or support your behavior? But you know what? All the behavioral change theories are missing something huge. What they're missing is that some kids are incredibly demoralized. Some kids aren't ready to get on the playing field. Some kids can hear, but they can't listen. Why? Because they've absorbed a message from too many people that says that they're incapable for one reason or another, what they look like, who they are, how much money they have. For one reason or another, they don't believe they're capable of change. I believe that the key thing to do when you're working with a young person who's demoralized, who's oppressed, perhaps who's depressed, but who's marginalized for one reason or another, is to love them. Because love breaks demoralization. What does love mean? We speak English, and so love sounds like it could be a dirty thing. And because of that, I don't use the word with kids. But if we were speaking any one of a number of other language, we would be talking about loving kindness, the love of humanity, and that's what I'm talking about. What I do when I sit with a kid is I let myself fall in love. What blows me away about that kid? Resilience in the context of a life that would have destroyed me. Compassion in a young person who was shown none. Someone who has grew up and saw his mother beaten by his father, but who wants to grow up to protect battered women. You listen to those stories. You say very little, but you hear them. And when you hear them, you reflect it back to the kid. And suddenly, they begin to open up. You've taken shame and stigma away from the room, and instead you've added hope. Not hope that I've showered on you, not hope that I have falsely put on you, but hope that existed within you based on who you are, who you really are, how you've survived, how you've risen, based on who you are. That's what I call love. Eliciting the stories, hearing kids like they've never been heard before, and telling them their stories back in a way that they've never heard before. Let me tell you something. If you talk to people who are 25 or 26 and they've turned their lives around, and they were like living the life when they're 18, 19, 20, 14, 15, 16, and you ask them what it was that made a difference, it's always the same answer. It was when Miss Cordella, Mr. Steve, Mr. Hugh, Miss Lucretia, it's when they made me understand that I wasn't trash. That is the pivotal moment of change in a young person's life. And that is what every one of us can do. It doesn't take training. It takes your heart and your ears.